What's going on, world? Welcome to my podcast. It's Just Different with Ty, where I talk about sports, social, political issues, you name it, everything under the sun I talk about. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And if there's any topic you want me to talk about, please leave in the comment section below. And if you want to come on here and have a debate with me, pending what it is, I will entertain it. But I will advise that if you come on here, come correct. Know what you're talking about. Do your research, because I ain't going to play around with you. With that said, let's go.
Welcome to It's Just Different with your host, Ty.
So, like most or pretty much all of my topics as it pertains to social and political issues, I take it very seriously. And this topic that I'm going to talk about is the same. It's personal for me, and I could say pretty much it's probably personal for all Black people. So today's topic is dealing with reparations. Yes, reparations. And since the end of slavery all the way even up to now in the year 2022, reparations is something that Black people have been demanding for. I feel like we definitely should have that. And, given the fact that everything that Black people had to endure and the free labor and go through during slavery and all the atrocities that come with that, Now, with that said, there's something that happened if many people haven't been paying attention, and it has to do with reparations. Now, in New York, yes, New York, lawmakers voted, right? I want you to listen very carefully as I explain this, okay? Now, lawmakers in New York voted for a bill that would have the discussion and that would have the conversation for reparations for Black people, all right? So lawmakers in New York voted on a bill that would have the conversations on reparation for Black people. Now, when I first heard about this, of course, naturally, I was excited. I was saying it's about time. We need this, So I had a lot of positive thinking that maybe, just maybe, this country is going to take accountability for what they've done to African people in this country. And then I started to think after a while, and I think, wait, what's wrong with this? Why would this same country all of a sudden want to give Black people reparations? What's going on that we're not paying attention to, right? I mean, we've been asking for this for, like I said, since the end of slavery. And now it seems that lawmakers want to acknowledge that maybe we might want to give African people reparations. So I look at other situations, not just in New York, in Illinois, California, things that's going on there. And the question that I have, or my concern is, when we talking about reparations, what are we getting? I want to make that clear, and I want Black people to really understand, overstand what I'm saying. What are we getting? When we talking about reparations, what are we getting? Because 9 times out of 10, when I hear about reparations, right, they only talk about it from a money standpoint. That's it. So they put a money on it. And for me personally, there's no amount of money you can put on what Black people in this country had to endure and still have to endure, but definitely during slavery. There's no amount of money that you can put on to say, okay, this is going to make it, okay now. And my concern with that, always when you just think about it from a money standpoint, number one, first, when you decide whatever amount you give us, then I'm pretty sure there's going to be a clause in there, or there's going to be something that says, now, after you get this money, we better never hear another thing about discrimination, about how black people are going through this, that, and the third, or any other thing, because they gave us money. And I just want to make sure that we are not selling ourselves short in this process. Now, you look at, I believe it's Illinois, in the state of Illinois, and I'm not sure what city it is, but I think that they started to, or they voted to start paying black residents $25,000 or something like that. I think. Can't remember what the city is. Somebody can fact check me real quick. And even in California, a panel, they did a study, and I guess they felt that black people in California are owed $569 billion, which came out to like $220,000 a piece for every black resident. And I'm not sure if that's just in California or just in the country period, but that's what they're saying is $569 billion, and it averages out to about $220,000, which is, like I said, what is that? It's nothing, especially now. And again, there's not a price tag you can put on the enslavement of African people in this country. There just isn't. So I'm going to say there's other things that should be attached to this. And if you're going to talk about from a money value, right? I want to know how much America is worth. We could start there from a money value, and then we could work our way up. But just that right there, I want to know, what is the value of America? How much is America worth? We could start from there, and then we'll work our way up. I'm not going down. We're working our way up. The other thing that I want to propose in this reparation thing is land. And to me, land is more important than the money. That's just me. Everybody, you listen, can agree to disagree. I respect whatever it is you think, but to me, land is the most important thing that we could possibly get out of this whole reparation package. Now, I'm going to read off some things to you that maybe you might not know or knew about, but, don't worry about it. I'm going to educate you on that. But it's important, again, we really look at what we are asking for as black people. And like I said, it just can't be money. But speaking about the land, now, another study was done, and it said that black people / black farmers basically lost about $326 billion worth of land in America. That's right. Black people lost $326 billion worth of land in America. Now, of course, you're saying, well, how did that happen? Well, maybe they just, right? The easy answer is just to say, oh, well, they just wasn't paying their taxes. That's it. No. Because in most studies and a lot of research done, like I'll say about 90% of black people lost their land, especially during the time of Jim Crow era and everything else and black codes. Most black people lost their land due to intimidation by the Klan, with help from the crooked racist police. Violence, if the Klan would knock on the door and say, hey, listen, you got to be out the house by the end of this week. If not, you and your whole family is going to die. This is what they did. It happened everywhere, not just in one particular place. No, this happened everywhere. Might not happen to every single black family, but it happened everywhere. And then you had the crooked lawyers, right? That was working with the Klan. And then you had the crooked judges saying, well, this is that, or all these different things. Black people ended up losing all this land illegally. Illegally. The constitutional rights was violated. All these different things was going on, and nobody really did nothing about that. And there was another thing that was going on as well that happened where a lot of Black people started losing their land, was called eminent domain. Eminent domain. If you don't know what eminent domain is, I suggest you look it up, but I have it right here, so I'm gonna read it off to you, even though I know what it is anyway, but I'm gonna read it off to you. An eminent domain is the right to force somebody to sell land or a building if it is needed by the government. So it's the right to force somebody to sell land or a building if it is needed by the government. There's plenty of stories that I personally know of where Black people lost their land due to eminent domain and lost lots and lots of land due to eminent domain. Most people, or a lot of Black people, know about the Black family in California. I think it might have been Manhattan Beach, California. I think I could be wrong. And basically, the government came in and said, "We want this. We're going to take this, and we're going to do this with that, and whatever have you." And the Black family said, well, they had no choice, so they had to sell. And what they was asking for, the government undervalued them by like 3, 5, 6 times the amount of what they was asking for. And when they got that land, the government got the land, they sat on it. They didn't even do nothing. They just wanted to flex their powers and let Black people know once again who's in charge, and this is what we're going to do, and you're not going to do a damn thing about it. And then decades later, the descendants end up getting that land back. But there's many stories where Black people, have, time and time again, do not get the land back. It's a loss. And that's why I want to basically shout out a man named Thomas Mitchell. And I believe he's a law professor at Texas A&M University. Thomas Mitchell. I actually emailed him one time, and told him about how just how proud I am of him and the work that he's doing. Him and other people, and I believe an organization, they are doing the research and coming up with the conclusion of how Black people lost millions of land. And I even believe that they're trying to fight currently to get that land back to Black people. So Thomas Mitchell, I want to salute him for doing that, and everybody else that's out there in the struggle that are trying to give Black people their land back, which was illegally taken. So I wanted to point that out. And another thing that I also wanted to say was another statistic. In 1910, in the year 1910, Black farmers owned more than 16 million acres of land. So in 1910, Black farmers owned more than 16 million acres of land. But by 2017, that number dropped to 4.7 million acres of land. 1910, a little over 16 million. 2017, 4.7. All these things are going on. All these things are happening. No one is saying nothing about it. I can personally, with my family, my own family. All right. My mother was born in Charleston, South Carolina. Her father, my grandfather, Doc, was born in Gainesville, Florida. They had a lot of land down there. Now, some of my relatives still live on the little bit of land that we still control and have and own. I think it's probably about maybe 10 acres, maybe. But before that, we had a little bit close, or a little bit under 400 acres of land. A little bit under 400 acres of land. And my family lost that illegally, I believe, in the early 1970s. And I'm, just baffled about how that was all played out and how that was done. And also I'm looking into ways of how can I try to get that back. I know it's going to be hard, but it's worth a fight. It's worth a fight. So that's something we also have to look at, y'all, is not only just the money value, but also land. That is key because that is deserved to us. We deserve that. The other thing I would like to say in this reparation package is that I ask that we all propose that we also get free education. Free education. Since we couldn't go to school, we couldn't learn, we couldn't read all these different things. Free education. That is a must. That is a must. Free education. No debt after we decide to go to school and go for 4 years for this or 6 years for this or 8 years. No, free. And one thing I noticed, and maybe some of y'all probably don't know, in Cuba, I believe they're still doing it. I know they were before. I had a friend, a classmate who actually went, so I know. In Cuba, small little island of Cuba, right? That America says is, very poor. It's impoverished. Cuba has a system or a program where if you are Black in America or Hispanic, right? And if you want to go to Cuba into the medical field, everything is paid for. It is absolutely free. Cuba has this. Cuba has a program right now. I still believe it's still going on, where if you're a Black person from America, and it's probably if you're a Black person in the islands too, but definitely if you're a Black person in America or Hispanic, and if you want to go to Cuba in the medical field, everything is covered. And you get a little stipend. Everything is covered. Now, at first I always said, well, there's got to be something up with that, right? There got to be some type of string attachment. Nothing is free. Why would they do that? Why would Cuba make that free for Black people? They got to be a string attached. And yeah, there is a string attached. And I'm going to tell y'all, you know what that attachment is? You know what it is? You can come to our school. This is Cuba, right? Come into the medical field for free. The only thing we ask is that after you graduate, you go back to serve your community. Bigger than Nino Brown. That's bigger than Nino Brown. I'm going to say that again. You could come to our school. This is Cuba speaking now. You can come to our school. Come to the medical field, right? After you finish, the only thing we ask is that you go back to your community and serve your community. That's it. And you mean to tell, and this is Cuba doing this now. Cuba. And you mean to tell me America can't do that for Black people in America? Of course they could. Now, if they want to, that's up to them. So we got a lot of things to think about, again, when we start talking about reparations. It's not just the money value. It is not just, you just can't put a money value on it and just say, that's it. The last thing I also want to bring up that I feel we should get, and there's probably more, but these are just some of the things I'm thinking about. Every invention that Black people made in this country, we get back. Every invention that Black people, everything we did during slavery, everything we built, everything, whatever it's worth now, that goes into the Black community. We have to get that back. The inventions, everything. Stop, whatever we've done that we didn't get credit for, and it went into a white man's pockets, a white person's pockets, a white corporation, we get that back. We get that back. Look at Harvard. We'll just take Harvard. Harvard is worth $50 billion. Last time I checked, might be worth a little bit more. African slaves built Harvard. African slaves built Harvard. Now we gotta get that. We gotta get that back. We gotta get that back. All these other institutions we built for free, we gotta get that back. All the inventions that we've done, we gotta get that back. So we have money. That's not really at the top of the list for me. We got all our inventions that we've done. Everything that's going on now that other races are eating off of, that black people didn't get a chance to eat off of in this country, we got to get that back. Land that we lost illegally, we got to get that back. And free school. So, with that said, I will say if anybody else has anything to add to that, please hit me up in the comment section. And, like I said, this is very much near and dear to me as a black person, because we can't let this fight die. We got to keep it going. We got to continue to ask for reparations. Demand it, not ask, but demand it. And we got to put a movement together. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching It's Just Different with Ty. See you guys on the next video. Peace and love.